Hey, what is going on? It is Basic Bros Reactions here, and today we have kind of a bittersweet reaction because we are reacting to possibly the last track from KARD, or last track for a while at least, Back to Life. And this is actually from, once again, their first and possibly last full-length album, which is crazy that they've been around for almost 10 years and they're finally getting their first full-length album, and it just so happens to be when they are possibly disbanding. And if you follow KARD like I do, you know that there's kind of been, the company is saying that like they're disbanding, but the members are saying that, you know, they're not necessarily disbanding, they're just maybe leaving DSP, which is a whole story in itself. But if you're new to this channel, big fan of KARD. Back when I was first getting back into K-pop in about 2017, there were three big artists that kind of really got me all in on K-pop, and it was Blackpink, Jungkook, and KARD. And their first mini album is, I say this without joking, that they're probably my top 10 favorite K-pop mini albums ever. Like, that's how much I loved it. Like, I can still put on Rumors on and just still groove to it and just remember the feeling of it. Oh nah nah, like they just had such great music, and throughout the years it's been very hit and miss. They played around with their sound, and I know that they kind of started to lean a lot into the Latin market and really should have been pushed there, but there's just been a lot that's gone on with them, and so it's kind of like, once again, it's very bittersweet as a fan that, you know, you want them to be able to go on their separate ways, but you just know that they should have been so much bigger. And it like breaks my heart because I saw like Jiwoo was saying in the interview, because when they announced that this was going to be like their last album and stuff, a lot of the domestic South Korean fans were, you know, talking about, we're putting in the news, and she was just talking about how she felt kind of almost a little bitter that, you know, it took their disbandment for them to get noticed, because they're so talented, they're so good, and you know, they were just one of those groups. And I know people throw around the word underrated a lot, but I truly feel like they were just ahead of their time, and they did something so unique, so special. Their dynamics was so incredible, their music, although hit and miss, but they were so talented. And so I'm ready to check this out. Like I said, it's gonna be a little bit sad, but I'm just really happy for them to hopefully continue on with their journey, because like I said, through their talks, through this kind of promotion, it has sounded like they still want to do things together. And so hopefully it'll be one of those things where, you know, they'll be able to move on to another company, or they'll be able to at least, you know, come back every year or two and work together and do little mini albums or different things like that. Kind of like, well, hopefully not as long span as IOI or something like that, but you see how the big push with IOI will hopefully bring more groups like that together. So with that, we will go ahead and get into this reaction in 3, 2, 1. Oh my God. Sorry, I'm like already feeling kind of emotional.
outclass act. Used to be the one that whole class laughed at. Lost my way, 나는 길을 찾기 위해 never lost faith. 믿는 대로 이루어지게. God planned that age and 나는 better me. I put it down how I live in your memories.
자기암 쇼핑 말리오니 되게 길어 they carry my feet down tears. First hand or stage you're there to be tied. you're there must stand still with steer. Live pound to bounce back. We got the girl scream 끊임이 파운더리 음색. Call me family and 무의 벨로 점점이 날로 비어가는 history.
Everybody needs somebody. I'll be there for you. Wherever you go, I'ma follow. Keep believing, 지켜줄게. Never solo. Even if you one day lose your way, I'ma lead you back to life.
Love this choreography. Reminds me once again, they're older. Oh man, I'm just like get a little a little emotional. That really hits me in the feels, just because once again, just from being there from the very start, and just this is the KARD that I fell in love with, and this is kind of like, because it sounds like an elevated version of their when they first debuted or their pre-debut, that mini album, that whole era. This sound like this would fit into that world, but it's a more elevated, and that's just so awesome to see them kind of going back to their roots. Because for like a farewell song, you know, you could go to something a little bit more slow, and but that's not KARD. Even though, like, once again, they have, obviously they can do that, but they're known for their energy, they're known from their dance, and they're known for their dynamics and performance. And so it was really cool to see them lean into that. And that felt like a World Cup song. Like, that felt like that could be something like Shakira was singing, like a World Cup anthem. And it was just so beautiful. It was so fun. The lyrics were very meaningful, once again, especially if you've been a fan of them and have been through their journey. And it's just really, once again, this is just such a great disbandment song. And I'm just like, of course, KARD, of course you would release one of your best songs, definitely one of your best songs in the last couple of years, but one of your best songs, title tracks ever, as your disbandment. And you know, but that's a good way to lead people. Hopefully this isn't a disbandment, but it was just great. And I really appreciate what they brought to the K-pop scene, and just them as a group and as individuals and everything. And I was always one of those fans who, even if I didn't like the title track, and or you know, because you know there was like second mini album was pretty good, but like third mini, they had a few mini albums that just weren't hitting it, but I would still try to stream it, still try to watch the video, and just try to show support. Because I know, and I've learned through these years of being a fan of K-pop and stuff, that you know, sometimes you have to support those groups even when they release tracks that you don't necessarily love. Just try to support them, because you know how fickle it is in the K-pop industry. And so I've just always just have felt so, you know, like there was so much potential. And I'm just, you know, it breaks my heart a little bit that it wasn't fully realized, but they still had such a great run, and they had such a big impact. And you know, I hope that they feel and know that the impact that they've had, even with the disbandment, and even with, you know, starting to get the recognition in South Korea, or at least people talking about it, I hope that at least, you know, makes them feel better about their journey. Because they really, like I said, they really did have impact. And I wish that, you know, their company DSP would have done a better job of not only promoting them in South Korea, but some internationally, and really helping to give them the push, because they just had very popularity internationally, and it seemed like it was never truly utilized like it could have been. But with that, I'm going to rate that a 9.2. I thought that was an incredible song. I loved it. I love seeing them. I'm really just happy for them, and I'm happy to have been a hidden KARD and still be a hidden KARD, because they just have blessed us with such great music and just so cool, just cool people. Like I said, and I've said in previous reactions, like Sumin is one of my like favorite idols too, and so yeah, this is just, this really hits me in the feels. But like I said, let me know down in the comments below, what did you think of this song? How do you feel about their whole journey in the K-pop world? Do you think that they were underrated, and what do you think was the biggest thing that was holding them back? And don't forget to check out our KARD playlist, because like I said, we have a ton of KARD reactions dating back to their pre-debut. So that's how far back. Like I said, when we first started this channel, KARD was one of our like main groups that we just love to react to. So you can go and check out some of those previous reactions. And don't forget to hit that like and that subscribe button and ding that bell so you get notified whenever we are dropping reactions. And we are Basic Bros Reactions.